All right, we're going to talk about the Mandela Effect. I've gotten comments about it. I've seen videos about it. I've read Wikipedia to try to figure out what it is. And as far as I could tell, they're saying that parallel universes exist. And the reason is because you remember something as some way, but then it's really differently. And the reason it's called the Mandela Effect is because Nelson Mandela, a lot of people remember that he was killed, but yet he wasn't killed. It turns out he was in prison, and then he died in 2013. So they're saying, well, you remember it as him being killed, but the reality is that he was still alive. And so it's this idea that there are these parallel universes out there where this is true in your universe, but then there's really a universe going on somewhere else where the real truth is. And so you were in the wrong parallel universe when you thought that Mandela was killed, and now you got the truth. And so we need to, and so there's a real you in one universe and another real you in another universe. And main examples that I've seen are things like Fruit Loops. They'll say, well, F-R-U-I-T, but no, it's really F-R-O-O-T. And as far as I can tell from all this research I've done, this is one of the stupidest things I've ever seen in all my life. That doesn't mean parallel universe. That just means they spelled name differently. Bernstein Bears has an E in it, but then it has an A now. Well, I remember it had an E in it when I was growing up. Well, now it's got an A. Well, it's just, they decided to change it. Fruit Loops, they changed it from UI to OO, or Jiffy used to be J-I-F-F-Y, and now it's Jif, J-I-F. It's not a parallel universe. They just changed the name. That happens all the time. Change the spelling of stuff.
Yeah, they actually, I mean, you can, especially women, we go shopping and stuff, and it's like Head and Shoulders. Head and Shoulders, it was in one container, the same look for eons. Then all of a sudden, they changed their bottles. They changed the look. They changed, now supposedly it has lemon in it. Now it has lavender smell. It's not a parallel universe. All it is clever advertisement and marketing. You change the bottle, you make it just a slightly different, put something different on there, but it still says Head and Shoulders. You're making people think that it's a new product. It's not a new product. It's the same product. They just add some fragrance to it. That's all it is. And so I told Eric, I said, oh, so there's a parallel universe. How about this? When in the South, it's called Hellmann's mayonnaise. H-E-L-L-M-A-N-N-S.
That's the best mayonnaise out there. Hellmann's mayonnaise.
The best mayonnaise out there. And it, when I moved to California, I couldn't find Hellmann's. And I got so upset. I'm like, how can you not have any Hellmann's mayonnaise out here? And come to find out, in California, it's the same mayonnaise, but and the colors of the label are the same. They just changed the name to Best Food. Best Food Mayonnaise. So it's the same mayonnaise, same colors, same design of the label. They just changed the name to make people in California think that they're eating something organic, which it is. You know, I mean, you can't get any more organic than eggs and salt and vinegar, you know. But that's not a parallel universe. It's just really good marketing. That's all it is. Yeah.
Or like when I was growing up, I remember the little jingle, Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, man. Well, they had the same jingle today, except they say, Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks. They just changed it. Well, we have women working for us now, so we don't want to say it's men because it could be women too. So It's not a parallel universe that it was men in one universe and folks in the other universe. It's just they decided, well, we've got women working here, so we're going to change the jingle, and we need a one-syllable word. So we'll replace men with folks. Hardee's restaurant in California, it's called Carl's Jr. White smiling star, red background. Pretty much the same food. They got different names for different things, but pretty much the same food. It's just like Lana says, it's just marketing. Yeah, we watched this video of this woman. It changed her world. It changed her way of thinking. It was just an awe-inspiring moment when she learned that the Mandela Effect was true. No Mandela Effect. It's just you remember that he was killed, but he wasn't. It's not he was in two different universes. In a parallel universe, he was killed, and the other one, he was alive. There was only one Nelson Mandela. It's just you didn't remember it correctly. That's all it means.
All it is, as you said before, it was the media. The media made it out that he died in prison when several years later he's released. Oh my goodness, he's alive. That's all it is just false media and clever advertisement and marketing. That's all it is. There's no such thing as a parallel universe. If there's a parallel universe, I am skinny. And I would be walking around butt naked all the time because I'm skinny. So there is no parallel universe, trust me. I have not been walking around butt naked.
And then when they changed the names of things too, like they said, what was the name of that one they hit?
Johnny Quest.
Johnny Quest, yeah. And they said, well, it was Jonny all along, but you remember it's Johnnny. Now, I never saw Johnny Quest. I don't know what it was or what it is now. But there's another thing that you'll notice about your human brain, and this is where you get optical illusions, is where you fill in what you think. Your brain doesn't get all the information, and it just fills in what it wants to see. So like in this case, I used to, Knott's Berry Farm, they used to have something called a haunted shack. If you Google haunted shack in Knott's Berry Farm, you might find out about it. But they would have things like a pool table and these balls on the pool table, and it looked like they'd throw the ball, and it looked like it was going uphill. It was defying gravity, because once it was done, it looked like it was going downhill. But it was really, it looked like it was going uphill, but it was really going downhill. What they did was they altered the ceiling and the molding and the paint to everything to make you think, even though normally you would be able to recognize if it's going downhill or not, because everything else in that room was not what normal is. Then you interpreted the downhill as really an uphill. And that's called an optical illusion, is that it's not that there's a parallel universe and things aren't correct or they've changed. It's just you remember it, you think of it differently. Like, for example, so with the Johnny Quest thing, normally Johnny is spelled Johnnny. So you see the name, again, you're not paying attention to it as a kid. You're not saying, oh, how does Johnny spell his name? You're interested in the character, I guess. So what you do is you just remember it 30 years later. You remember Johnnny because that's how Johnny is normally spelled. And then you find out it was Jonny all along. So there was a parallel universe. It's not a parallel universe. You just remembered it as you would normally do. You filled in the blanks. You filled in information in your mind with what you didn't remember, with what you normally would think would be there. I've seen things where they'll be online, you can see a whole page or a whole paragraph, and it's just consonants. The vowels are completely missing, but you can just read it as if the vowels are there, because your mind fills it in. Your mind knows what there's there. So this parallel universe and Mandela Effect, and the spelling was this, but it's really that. There's no parallel universe. It's just your mind filled in what it thought was going to be there, and it turns out that's not what was there. So it's just crazy. I don't know why people are involved in it. It's stupid what it is.